Hi guys, something a little bit different for you today. I haven't been online in a little while, so hi guys. Today, ZimdogTuning, we're going to be in the BMW M8 GTE, the new one. It came out a couple of months ago on Forza. I know a lot of people have done tunes for these, but I thought I'd come online, give it a crack myself and see how we get on, to be honest with you. I'm going to be around Suzuka today. I've chosen this track for absolutely no reason whatsoever, other than I quite like driving around it, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, leave this particular car, the paint on we've got at the minute is PGT Wildcat as well, so thanks very much for that, and well, it looks pretty good going around the track, as you'll see in a minute. While we're just loading up the tracker, I thought the purpose of this video would be to give you guys a bit of an insight into what happens, behind the scenes before a finished sort of tune gets released or raced, in a series or whatever. Give you guys a bit of a chance to see sort of my process that I go through to try and discover, what needs to be done to a car, really. So if we just get started here, I mean, this paint's great, isn't it? Have a look at that. Good stuff, Wildcat. Yeah, so I guess the first thing that I'll do, drive the car completely stock. We've reset the tune this morning. Got traction control on. Unfortunately, the first time I've driven with that for a little while after doing all the FRC stuff, and immediately we've just understeered straight off the track. Good job, Matt. Out, and we want to oversteer straight away as well. I think first impressions of this car are going to be that it's going to understeer into a corner and oversteer out of the corner. Be quite twitchy. There we go. So immediately I'm going to be thinking that we need to soften the back end of the car just to give it that stability, especially around here in Suzuka where you've got a flowing sort of first sector. Here we go, wide again. The car just wants to push straight away. I think we're probably going to need to sort of soften the rear and stiffen the front. Immediate thoughts. Let's go around here. Turn in okay, but likes to push quite a lot from the front end. Obviously this isn't running any aero either, so that's the first thing that we're going to have to adjust, which probably won't make too much difference, but it will equalise the car out, just give it a bit more grip overall, which is always nice to do. Coming up to spoon now, brake on the shadow for those who don't use the braking line for in all these GT cars. Again, it just pushes wide. So out, can't get on the power, even with traction. Down the straight, we see if fourth gear reaches. See if we have to shift up to fifth before 130R. Struggling to get on the power. Oh dear. No idea where to brake. Well, I guess. Turned out too bad in the end. Feels sluggish around here this last corner, even with sim steering on. Okay, so one lap done. Usually I give it 5 or 6 laps before I start changing things, but I guess for the purpose of this video, sort of streamline the process a little bit for you, we'll stop and we'll have a think what we want to change. So another look at this paint. That's good. Okay, tune set up. Obviously, we're just running the stock tune at the minute. Everyone should be familiar with Forza's stock one now. They try and equalise out all of the springs and all of the dampings the same front and back. As obviously that's the perfect setup for a car and a random diff setting. So let's put that aero on that we talked about. No point not having it on there unless you're on a speed track. Braking, your personal preference. This is what I use. Don't have to use the same. It's totally up to you. And I always drop the tyre pressures a little bit as well. Gearing I thought actually wasn't too bad. We did need to change into fifth gear going before 130R, didn't we? So maybe we'll shift fourth gear a little bit. This toe as well, not really sure why Forza always put negative toe on the back. I think the best way for Forza going forward is to 0000. Caster, let's have a look at what it says. I don't really agree with this too much. I feel like just the higher the caster, the more responsive the car feels, but it keeps that stability that I like. I like an understeery, stable car. if I put the caster quite low, I feel that it feels all spongy, and actually I really don't like driving cars with low casters. I can sort of tell immediately. Roll bars, I think we just need to stiffen both of these up quite a lot. Actually, it just feels unresponsive. Now, springs, let's not keep it stock. Like I said, let's drop the rear spring, maybe not that much, to give it a bit more composure coming out of the corners. So the car sort of almost squats a little bit. Keep quite a high front spring. I guess we might raise them up depending how we get on. This rebound and bump stiffness, this is sort of classic Forza, if you like, sort of between 9 and 10 on the front, between sort of 11 and 13 on the back, and a low bump stiffness. That's sort of textbook GTE tuning, to be honest with you. And a lot of people disagree with this, but I quite like a low sort of accel and decel diff on my cars. Start with 20 and 5 all the time. That may well rise up to, you know, something like 40 and 20, but you know, we'll see. A lot of people don't run a lot of decel diff at the minute or ever really, since sort of something or Forza. So we'll see how we get on with this. Let's have a couple of laps with this car now and see what we have to change. You know, we may go around a couple of corners and immediately, you know, say that, you know, this is rubbish, but sort of base setups tended to work quite nicely for me in the past, so could you guys get sort of a bit of insight into that. Immediately, you know, we're much closer to the apex already. The car's feeling much nicer. It's rotating a little bit better, I'd say. The diff's quite a lot lower. I feel like I can get on the power. I haven't said that. We've just gone wide again, so I think we might need to widen the springs a little bit again. Yeah, not by much. Just to, you know, exaggerate what we've done a little bit already, and actually putting the decel diff. Let's put it up a little bit, just so we've got that composure when we're off throttle going into some of these longer corners, to keep that stability we talked about. Feels much nicer through here. Can get on the power earlier than we did. I expect this to make a massive difference. The decel through this hairpin, able to get on the power a lot earlier. Yeah, much straighter exit, much better on the power, even with traction control. Even with traction, you know, your aim is to always not light that little light on the right hand corner up. You know, the faster you are, the less you're going to light that up. So turned in a bit too early there, so it surprised me. That was the curb spot, not the cars there, so we'll let it off. So all the while we're going, you know, down the straight, we can think about what we actually need to change to the car. Do we need to, you know, make it more or less responsive? Do we need it to turn in more? Do we need the car to sort of be able to get out of corners a little bit more sensibly by sort of lowering the rear springs? Rule of thumb is widen, you know, the anti-roll bars, so put the front up and the rear down to sort of stabilise the car, if you like, and the same with the springs. And obviously the other way around, if you want the car to be more responsive, turn in faster but be less stable, then, you know, lower the front anti-roll bar and raise the rear. I quite like the way that this car's driving at the minute. I think we could probably get away with raising the caster a little bit and actually making the car overall a bit stiffer, so it just responds a bit, you know, nicer, because Suzuka's quite flat. It's got a few curbs, but actually I think we could go quite a bit stiffer. May end up putting that up, and actually there's a lot of long corners here, so increasing that rear sort of excel diff helps sort of push the car around the corner. So you've got the outside tyre. Oh, that's a great example of the first corner, is it? Push that outside tyre around the corner to help the car sort of rotate a little bit more when you're on the power, which is quite helpful in these GT cars, as you know, most of the time you are on the power. Feeling pretty good now. This see how we get on with the rest of this lap. Hopefully we don't run wide on this corner again. Just more confident on the power. Oh, clip the curb again. Really hate that on Forza's physics. Good test this corner. Slightly off camber. the line is important. So having a good car setup really key for around here. Again, much straighter here. To come up to speed again. Hope you guys sort of enjoyed the video. A little bit of insight into what process I go through when tuning. It's probably similar to a lot of you guys, but get a vision of a sort of a base setup and where I start from and sort of my thought process on what needs to change almost immediately. Obviously carry on doing a fair few laps after this to perfect the tune before sort of it's released. I'll probably release it as sort of TPR Loose, or do 2 different ones, so with people who sort of slightly different driving styles. So I'll make sure I make a note of that in the description. If you guys want to hear more from me on this, then obviously sort of give the video a like. It's a bad thing. Subscribe. I realise this is the first video I've done of this sort of kind. So any hints and tips or bits of feedback, then do let me know. I think I'm just watching this bit here. The immediate plan, sort of more detailed videos on tuning. What each element brings to the tune. Different cars. People can suggest what cars and builds they want me to have a look at. I know I will have just released their Maserati Trofeo series, so might be worth looking at doing a tune for that people can use and adjust to them themselves. So any ideas, then post in the comments. Thanks, guys.